Okay, let's start. No, we have a minute. 9:39. Yeah. Yeah, they're already came and left from me. Okay, so you can't do it. Okay, let's start. You ready? We're good to go? Okay. Okay, so if you have the papers, what we're starting now is, it's the beginning, it's really the beginning of Siman Shin Peiches, which is really, in the order of the Shulchan Aruch, this is where the sugya of Moiser starts. But we went a little out of order, because we started from the end of the Siman, from where the it talks about the Isra of being Moiser, and you have a Chelik in Olam Haba, you don't have a Chelik in Olam Haba, all that whole sugya. What are you allowed to do? What you're not allowed to be Moiser. What we're going to talk about now is the Chiyuv Mominus that comes if you are Moiser. So if a person causes damage by, the way we titled the share is by leaking sensitive information, so if he gives over information to the government, or to Goyim, or Lavdafka government, whatever, he gives over certain information that is going to cause a hezek to someone, so is that called damage? Do you have to pay for that? How much do you have to pay? And what happens if they force you?
This is just because the person was Meiser, this is because of laws. Oh.
Now we're talking about not the Avera of being Meiser, we're talking about the Chiyuv Momin of being Meiser. If you're Meiser and you cause damage, is that called Nezek? Did you damage the person? Is it called Nezikin? Is it called Gzela? Is it called whatever? So, because remember, you didn't actually damage the person, right? You didn't actually damage them biyadayim. So you gave over their money. You didn't even give it over. You just pointed out to the guy, hey, you can get it over there. Okay? So we're going to learn the Gemara. I think this week we're not going to have much past the Gemara. Okay? So we're going to learn the Gemara. And there's a whole bunch of Gemaras. I made the copies now that it should last for a couple weeks. It's going to take 2-3 weeks to get through this. But let's learn the Sugya. So Sugya in Bab Kama, Kuf Tezayin Amud Beis. Now keep in mind that this is coming off the heels of what we learned and spent time on, which was Dina de Garmi. Dina de Garmi taught us that even if you didn't damage something directly, you damaged indirectly, you're also chayiv. Right? So Memela Midina de Garmi, it could be that these that this is going to be shaykh to Dina de Garmi. Zok the Mishnah. Hagoizel, it's on Kuf Tezayin with Beis Babakama, page 1. Hagoizel saw the mechavera. Someone stole a field from his friend. Unetalu masikin. Masikin are goyim that come and powerfully take people.
We're missing page 1.
Kuf Tezayin on Beis didn't come in the thing. In this one it did. I have it right here.
None of ours.
Let me see what you have.
First page. It starts with page 2. You have page 1?
Here, this is page. Page 2. Here, page 1 got stapled to this one. Check the back page of your thing. Maybe it got stapled in the wrong. There, he has it also. What?
I have an extra.
He has an extra. Okay, there you go. It got misstapled, so take it. This one has it.
You have it?
Here, give it.
Staple in the back.
What?
It says staple in the back.
Here, there's an extra one there though. I don't know if that one got stapled. I don't know. Some of them have it properly. You want to switch back? Okay, you have it. Good. So Kuf Tezayin with Beis.
You want a whole package?
He has one here. Okay, let's go. So the end of the Mishnah says, in Machmas. Hagoyza Sodom Mechaver Natulo Masikin. Imachmas Medina who Omer Laria Shachal Fanecha. Imachmas Hagazlan Chayiv Lahamed Loisoda Acheres. So here the Mishnah says, if it's the Gazlan's fault that a goy took it away from him, and now he can't return it to the owner, he's chayiv. Okay? If it's the Gazlan's fault that it got taken from him, then he's chayiv to pay the owner a new field. Now, what does it mean it's the Gazlan's fault? So look down in the Gemara. The Gemara in the 2 dots, the third wide line. Hechi dami. Ilema dan su'a la'ara. Didei v'loyan su'a kule arasa. Hamaresha shamet mina. Imakas medina hi. They took everything. Eloi, loy. So it says Gemara, loy tzricha da'achvuye achvi. Loy tzricha da'achvuye achvi. So what did he do? Look at Rashi. Shaloi gazlahu atzmai. It's talking about a case he didn't actually steal it himself. Mi beis hamelach shemevakshin ligzol sodois. He heard that the beis hamelach is looking to steal fields. He heard that there's a shmua out there that the melech is looking to take over some sodois. V'hero lahem. And this guy went, Lefnim Rishur Zadin, and he told the government, hey, I heard that the government's in need of some fields. This guy has a very good field. It would suit your needs perfectly. Go take it from this yid. Tlu karkazu shel ploini. So the Gemara is saying that that's the case of the Mishnah, that you're chayev, as if you stole it. So what do you see from that? That even though you did not take away his field, it was just achvuye achvi, you showed it, you gave the guy a clue, and you said, hey, that field is available, go take that field. And because of that he took the yid's field, you are chayiv now to reimburse the owner. Lishnachrino, let's just finish the Gemara. Hachaba ma'askin going down sua akum. They forced him. V'amrile achviye arase. Show us a piece of karka. V'achve hahu ba'adayu. And he said, oh, you want my property? Sure, take mine and my friends. You're chayiv. So the Gemara in the Inami adds on that even if they force you to be even if they wanted, they were forcing you to give over your property, and you, in addition to your property, gave over someone else's property, so memela, you gave over both your chayiv. The point is, you're chayiv for achvuye achve, for showing the property. Look at the Tosfos. Why are you chayiv for that? It's a kana. Why are you chayiv? You're a bad guy. What'd you do wrong? So why are you chayiv? So Sak to Gemara, the reason you're chayiv is Zok Tosfos v'chayiv mishum dina de garmi. You're chayiv als garmi. This is what we learned last time. This is dina de garmi. One of the rules of garmi is that if it's vade going to happen and the nezek is vade going to happen and it happens right away, that's called dina de garmi. Even though it's indirect, but it's considered more direct than a regular grama. And memeli you're chayiv als dina de garmi. Kedemash v'lekamon. So Tosfos is already masber that the chiyav. Turn the air down. It's on. I think it's on heat. I don't know what this story is. And the other one also. What? You're in Florida. You need air conditioning in the winter also.
There's no such thing as winter.
What? So that's what the Gemara says over here, and Tosfos says you're chayav al dina de garmi. Let's go down a little further, and like I said, we're going to spend some time on the Gemaras here. Zok the Gemara weiter. Hahu Gavra. There was a story. Da'achve akarya dechiti deberesh galusa. He showed a pile of chitim that belonged to the Reish Galusa. He gave it over to the government. Also, so there's a big pile of chitim. He heard that the government is in need of wheat. There's a shortage of government access to wheat. And he said, hey, there's a lot of Jewish wheat right here. Also, lekame de Rab Nachman. So he came before Rav Nachman. Chayiv Rav Nachman l'shlume. Rav Nachman said, you have to pay. Rav Yosef, Achoyre de Rav Huna bar Chia. Rav Yosef is sitting behind Rav Huna bar Chia. Rav Yosef, Rav Huna bar Chia, Kamed Rav Nachman. And Rav Huna bar Chia was in front of Rav Nachman. Amalei Rav Huna bar Chia. So Rav Huna bar Chia asked Rav Nachman, why does he have to pay? Dina or knasa? Is this a din or is this a knas? Amalei Masnisani, that's none. Imach Masagazlan, Chayiv Lahamid Leisade, Ve'okimna Dachvuye Achve. Meaning, it sounds like he's saying, you're Chayiv Mikra Adin of Garmi. Now, whether Garmi itself is a dina or kanas is a machlokes, and there's two machlokes on how to read this Gemara, but the point is that the maskana of the Gemara is it's a real chi of mammon. It's a chi of mammon of Garmi. It's not a special kanas. But like we said in the sugi of Garmi, whether Garmi itself is the din or kanas is a machlokes machaber and the Ramah. Machaber holds its din, it's hezek. That's called nezek. Garmi is not just grama, it's not indirect. It's called direct enough to be chayiv, and the Ramah holds it's a kanas. Okay? So that's really the two tzedadim in the Gemara here, dina or knasa, and it ends up being a machlokes mechaber Ramah, and Yechayiv medina de garmi for showing the property. So that alone, that you went ahead and showed the property to the guy, you are chayiv. Zogt the Gemara weiter on Kuf Yud Zayin would be Amud Aleph. I didn't make enough copies. It could be just plain Gemara Bava Kama would be helpful. Get a Gemara. Okay. So the Gemara goes on Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph. I marked it down as like two separate stories. Each story has its own limud over here. Rav Huna, you see like in the fifth wide line, there's an underlined section there. Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph in Bava Kama. Rav Huna bar Yehuda ikla lebei Avyuni. Rav Huna bar Yehuda went to Bei Avyuni. Also kami de Rav, and he came before Rava. Amalei. So Rava asked him, Klum Maisa Bol Yotcha. Do you have a good Maisa? You know, Rav comes to a visiting city. So he said, you had a good Shiloh these days. I want to hear. How'd you paskin? Tell me what's going on in your place. So he says, oh, you want to hear a good Maisa? I had a good Maisa. Amalei. So Rav Huna bar Yehuda told Rava, I had the following story. Yisrael she'ansu akum. There was a story that a guy was ma'anes a yid. He forced a yid to show and give over to the authorities some Jewish money. We need some money. The Jews have money. You're a friend of the government. Give us some tips. We need some money. We're going to go in and take some money from the Jews, from the Jewish community. So this guy tells them, well, this guy, he has some spare cash. This guy, he has some spare cash. You go to these 3, 4, or 5 people, they'll take care of everything you need. So they were ma'anis him, and they told this person, if you don't do it, we're going to give you klep. We're going to do something to you. There was some sort of einus there. It doesn't sound like they were going to kill him, but they would do something to him. We'll see exactly what. So, Amar lei v'chiyavtiv. And he forced him to pay. And he forced it. You're cold? You're cold, sir? So turn off that one.
That one over there.
So
It's
turn
not
off.
just cold. It's
So turn that one off.
blowing cold air on top of the head.
Sounds like B&G.
Yeah.
Okay, so turn that one off. So we'll keep one on, one off. Shara. So he says like this. He says that v'chiyavtiv, and I made him pay. I made him pay. So Rava says, oh, you're proud of that psak? Amalei ahada uvda lamare. Go, you pay back the guy that you were mechayev. He doesn't have to pay. Why'd you make him pay for? The Tanya, we learned the brayso, Yisrael she'ansuhu ovdei kachavim, a yid that was forced by a guy. V'hera maman chaverai, and he showed where the Jewish money is to be found, potter. He's potter. However, im notav anosam biyad, if he didn't just show them where the money is, he actually went ahead, found the money, brought the money to the goyim and said, here you go, then chayiv. Then he's chayiv. Amarabba imhera me'atzmai kenosa v'nosam b'yadam. And if he did it by himself, he's also chayiv. So we have 3 dinim over here. Okay? Like I said, it's going to take a little bit of time. Like, it took us like weeks to just like get comfortable with these concepts. Basically, there's 3 halachas that this story tells us. One halacha, which is the Mishnah. A guy comes out of his own volition and tells the goyim, hey, you want some, I heard through the grapevine that you guys are looking for some property to build some nice, something gishmak. Hey, take this guy's property. And because of what you said, they took the property. That the Mishnah says you're chayiv, that Rabbah says you're chayiv. You're chayiv. Why are you chayiv? You didn't give it yourself. Dina de garmi. You're chayiv midina de garmi. Okay? That's din number 1. Din number 2 is, that's because you did it on your own. Now, let's take it to the step where the goyim forced you. They pull you in, and they say, look, we have you here. We'll let go of you if you give us some information about the big fish. Right? Maisim b'chol yom. I mean, b'chol yom, but it happens. So, right, we need some information. Well, maybe that's not the best example. Let's say they just take you in and say, we need some money from the Jewish community in general without pointing to a specific person. And so we want some money from the Jewish community, and they forced you to do that, and you did it, then you're potter. So the difference is, were you forced to do it, or were you not forced to do it? However, even if you were forced to do it, if you went out and did biyadayim, you took the Jewish money and you handed it over to the goyim, then you're chayiv, even according to Rabbah, even if it was ba'inus. Okay? 3 dinim over here. Now, the reason this is Geschmack is because this combines the last 6 months of everything we learned. Why? Because we started off, I think in the summer's man, after Pesach, we started off learning about Adam Muad La'olam. That even though there's a P'tur Oinus when it comes to mitzvahs and Averis, there's no P'tur Oinus when it comes to Maminis. You could be a total Oinus, unless it's like the Ramban Oinus Gomer, but basically, even if you're an Oinus, you're chayiv to pay. So it's not my fault, I didn't realize, whatever, it doesn't matter. You're chayiv to pay if you damage someone. Oinus is Oinus, Adam Muad La'olam, and there's no P'tur Oinus. Oinus means it was beyond your control. There's no P'tur of something being beyond your control when it comes to Nezikin. We also learned that even certain cases of indirect damage, you're chayiv because of Garmi. Even though there's a klal of Groma is potter, but Garmi is chayiv. So we said Garmi is direct damage. So now we have a case, that was what we learned in El. So between the Summer's Man and the El's Man, we learned two things. We learned that Adam Muad La'olam, you're chayiv for Nezikin Ba'onis, and we learned that Dina de Garmi is called Nezikin. Now, okay, so now comes the cherry on top. Let's put both sugyas together. What if you're oinus on a dina de garmi? Oh, all of a sudden here the Gemara says you're potter. So oinus is chayiv and garmi is chayiv, but oinus on garmi is potter. In order for oinus to be chayiv, oinus means the mamash force you. You have no choice. They're be lashing on you. They're giving you malchus, whatever they're doing. So oinus on dina de garmi is potter. So the Gra says that really only makes sense if you understand that Dina de Garmi is a knas, like the Ramaz Shita. So they weren't consenting you if you did it ba'inus. It's only if you had kavan al-hazik. This is the Gra's pshat, but regardless, that's what Gemara says basically. But if you went ahead and you took the Jewish money biyadayim, and you went ahead and gave it over to the goyim, so now it's not Garmi anymore. Now your mamash was mazik biyadayim. So now that you're mamish mazik biyadayim, then you're chayiv even on oinus, even if they forced you. So therefore, that's what's going on over here in the Gemara. So la'olam, giving goyim information that causes damage to a yid is considered dina de garmi, and if you do it for no reason, I mean no reason means that you're not forced to do it. You have a reason because the guy's bothering you and he took your seat in Shul, so then you found out that he's doing his building without permit, so you're handing him over. I'm not talking about no reason. You're not oinus. You're not forced to do it. So if you're not forced to do it from the government, so you're chayiv al tzedina de garmi. Any hazekim that he gets, you're chayiv al tzedina de garmi.
So if he doesn't be a dime, why is it garmi?
No. If you do it, that's not be a dime. If you're telling the information to the guy, and then the guy goes ahead and takes the money, so you didn't take the money. The guy took the money. So that's dina de garmi. So then, what? Okay, no. So I'm getting to that. So that's what I'm saying. So if you told the guy and the guy went in and took the money, so now you were chayiv al dina de garmi because you did it on your own and you caused damage and it's considered vade hazek dina de garmi. If the guy forces you to give the information, the Gemara says you're potter. If they force you to give the information and you want to go and find favor in the eyes of the guy, don't worry, I'll take care of it. Not only do you give the information, you go ahead and take the money physically and bring it to the guy. Now you did it biyadayim, then you're chayiv even if they force you to do that. Okay? Because there's no p'tur oinus on nezikin.
The concept of force.
Okay, what's force?
Yeah.
So does force mean that they're physically abusing the person? They're torturing the person until you give information? Or does it mean like this? Listen, man, buddy, we are going through we have you in our station here, and we are not leaving unless we get $100,000 from the Jewish community. And right now, you're the only guy we have. So either you give us the information that we get it from other people, or we take it from you. Is that considered force? Oinus mamin. Is oinus mamin considered forcing or not? Unbelievable question. Machloikes, big machloikes in Nachroinim. We'll see that the Ramah says that it's not considered an oinus. That's not considered force. What? L'sachmoid, whatever.
You have to give away money to non-violent
Oh, we're not talking about if you're allowed to or not allowed to. We're talking about if you're chayiv or potter.
You're not being forced to. If you give your money, you're not being forced to.
Okay, but Lamaisa, did they continue in Dina de Garmi b'chiyah gavna? In other words, we're talking about the svar of the idea of Dina de Garmi. Dina de Garmi is a chiyuv moment. Lamaisa, you're not trying to be mazik the guy. Technically, you're just trying to save yourself. So is that enough to make your potter? You're not a good guy. We're not saying you should do it, but you're chayiv or your potter.
Why would you be chayiv?
Because maybe that's considered oinus, and Chazal weren't goyz a Dina de Garmi b'oinus.
If you have a chiyuv to give up your money for it, then it's not an onis. Why is it an onis? The guy, the
you know that the Rambam paskins. No, that's not true because the Gemara. What you're chayiv to do is in Shemayim. The Rambam says that we all know that there's gimel averes chamuris. That if a guy says or someone says you have to give up your life not to be over them. What if you didn't? You weren't oimed ben Nisayan, and they say, do this avodah zara, or I'll kill you, and you say fine, and you did the avodah zara. The Rambam says you're potter. I'll tell you this. You're not allowed to do it, but l'maisa, if you did it, you did it ba'inus. You did it being forced. So you're not allowed to, but it's the Rambam Paskin. So the same thing here. That's the machlekes between the Ramah and the Shach. And the Shach says, I have enough shitas that hold that if you're forced b'dinei mominus to give over the information that you're potter, Memela, if this happens, you could say kimli, like the shitas that I'm potter and bezin, and you don't have to pay.
Where do we draw that line on that? Can I say I'm a potter for shaking a little Manasseh because the guy wanted $25 for a little Manasseh, and I'm onis now because he wanted my money. So it's like where
here you're being forced to go and give this information.
Forcing me to give him $25. I want to give him Manasseh. What do you do?
Is it considered?
I think if a guy can give me $25 or else I'm going to steal $100,000 from your neighbor. You say, I'm onis now, I don't have to pay him. Of course he wouldn't say that's ridiculous.
Okay, so you have to know what he means. Maybe not every onis moment is onis moment. The Gra says that it's a mefurish Gemara Ksuvis that if you do this, you're called a rasha. The machlokes is exactly what you're saying. A guy's a rasha for doing it. But Lamaisa, he didn't do it because he hates other people. He couldn't be Oimid ben Nisayan. So he couldn't be Oimid ben Nisayan. Lamaisa is a rasha. So now, did Chazal mechayev adina de garmi b'chiyah gavna or not? That's the question. No one's saying that he did the right thing. That's the whole. We'll get to that.
Is it considered forced if the authorities say, we're going to let you out of jail early if you master, or if you don't master, we're going to prosecute you on a certain crime?
Right, so the Mistama jail is considered Yisurin Haguf, Yisuri Haguf. Mistama, it's not,
Rav Moshe said it clear.
What? Yeah.
Rav Moshe said
Right.
last week.
That's Pasha like that. Now, being in jail is considered Yisuri Haguf. And everyone would say you're Potter. I don't know that you're allowed to do it. Again, now we're not in the realm anymore of Mutter and Asr. Now we're in the realm of Chayv and Potter. Meaning, we're not talking about if you're permitted to do this, you're not permitted. We're talking about if you did it, what's your chiyuv on the mominus? What's the obligation to pay back? Do you say I was forced or not? We'll see. Okay. Now, next, these are the fundamental principles. Next week we'll go over it and then go into the Shulchan Aruch. We're just trying to get the Gemaras and the concepts for now. Now, next Shaila. So okay, we introduced a lot of concepts already because people are already asking questions. It's good. But next Shaila.
Would he be potter b'dinei Shemayim also?
What?
If he did it, would he be potter b'dinei Shemayim?
Well, I don't know about that because
right.
Right. If he's potter b'dinei Adam, you want to know is he also potter b'dinei Shemayim, or is it just like a regular groma?
It's not my
I'm not sure this guy cares that much about Dina Shemayim.
No, what I'm saying, but how can we say that something's usher, but if you get something to Shemayim, they're going to say, yeah, no problem, you're a tzaddik. It can't be usher, but you're also potter.
Let's say there was no thing, because there's two separate things. One is that you cause this guy tsar, right? You mastered on the guy. There's another thing, you cause him damage in Choshen Mishpat. It's two separate things. Could be for the damage in Choshen Mishpat, you're not, every grama you're technically Chai B'din Shemayim. So now you have a grama that you're, a garmi that you have an oinus on. Mistam, you're also Chai B'din Shemayim. I would think you're Chai B'din Shemayim.
How can we sign for onis? Onis with Manapatra.
Onis with Manapatra, but Lamaisi you cause the guy damage.
But
Not by mom, I said.
Adamud Lo'ilam. But Lamaisa, Adamud Lo'ilam, but not the garmi. But Lamaisa, it's not going to be worse.
I'm chayav to pay him.
I don't know. I didn't see anyone discuss it. It's a good
So
shaila.
you get up to Shemayim,
I think
going to say you're good because it was onis.
No, I don't think Hashem will say good because unless you weren't allowed to take that
Then it's
onus.
not an ones.
You're Russia.
You can't play both sides of the coin and say that it's an
It's
ones
two
and
separate.
covered.
Yeah, it's two separate. It's two separate departments. It's two separate departments. One is the Choshen Mishpat, one is the Servater. Okay,
One is not an ones?
no. But Oinus is not a P'tur on that. Let's say it is Oinus, but it's not worse than a regular Groma. In a regular Groma, you're also Chayiv B'din Shemaim, even though you're
Why is it not
Potter.
worse than regular grandma? Grandma's considered ones?
No. But I'm just saying, but it's Garmi really here.
I'm saying it's much better than grandma. Much better than grandma.
You're saying, does the Oinus Potter B'din Shemaim if it Potter B'din Adam also? Not sure. It's a good shot.
No, I'm saying if we're calling it an ones, it's a part of Medina Shemaim. I don't care what, maybe you're Chayiv Medina Adam. But Lamaisa, it's ones. So
No, if you're Chayiv B'din Adam, you're obviously Chayiv B'din Shemaim.
No, that's true because I borrow someone's car and a tree falls in it. Okay, so I'm chayiv because Shul's chayiv noise.
And if you don't pay it and you get to Shemaim, then you didn't fulfill your Chiyuv.
Because it's not because I'm
No. The Chiyuv B'din Shemaim means Chiyuv B'din Shemaim means you didn't do what you're required to do down here, obviously. But even if Bezdin is not mechayiv you down here, maybe you have to pay him. That's what it means.
I would be chayiv to pay him back, and I might go to Gehenna for not paying him back, but I'm not going to go to Gehenna for smashing his car.
Okay, fine. We're talking about paying him back.
If the tree falls and smashes the guy in it also, he's not going to go up to Shemaim and be like, listen, you should ask him.
Okay, but here this guy's a Russia. Because he allowed his taiva of his own money, to force him, allow himself to be forced to give over someone else's money. So that's considered a Russia. However, since at the end he didn't do it from bad intentions, he did it be'oinus, so maybe they were mechayiv that garmi. Now, even if they weren't mechayiv that garmi, could be b'din shemaim mechayiv. I'm not sure. Now, next shaila, what happens if, which is more common, is if they are asking for specific information about a specific person. So now, till now we were talking that you're coming on your own or you're being forced to come on your own, but you're basically giving information they don't know. They're not going after someone specific. They're not going after anything. They just want money from the Jews or in general. Versus, now we're going to introduce the next case. They're coming after someone specific. So, what's the halach over there? Do you say, well, they're going to get him with me or without me? Do you say, I'm not a bad guy over here because I'm saving myself at the expense of the community? Adrabah, I'm not saving myself at his expense. His problems are what got me in trouble in the first place. Because this guy's a bad guy, that's why I'm in trouble. So, Mamela, I'm not choosing to patter myself up on this guy's back. It's fakir. This guy threw me under the bus, so I'm allowed to protect myself, right? So that's the next Gemara, and it's a big machlokes from the Ravid and the Rif. It's very, very interesting. So let's see the next Gemara. If you have a Kuf Yud Zayin Amud Aleph, the next piece. Hahu Gavra de'ansu oivdei kachavim. There was a guy that was forcing. There was a yid that was being forced by a guy. Va'ach v'achamra der of Mori breder of Pinchas breder of Chizda, and he showed them the chamra of Rav Mori Breder Pinchas, which I'm assuming means the wine in this case. Amr lei Dari v'amti b'hadon. Okay, so now what happened is he says, the goyim say, okay, thank you for showing us the wine. That's a great bottle, no problem. They were forcing him. It's not clear exactly what they were forcing him to do. And then he says, by the way, guys, you want that barrel of wine, delicious wine that Rav Huna has. That Rav Mori Breder Pinchas. He has great wine in that barrel. Do you want it? So he says, yeah. Amr lei Dari v'amti badan. Then the goyim tell the yid, by the way, can you bring it to us? Dari, he went, v'amti badai, and he brought it with them. Also, l'kamei de Rav Ashi, he came before Rav Ashi, patrine. And Rav Ashi said, you're potter. So Amalei Rabbanan Ravashi Vatanim Nosav Nosav Biyad Chayiv. Didn't we just say before that if you brought the money yourself, you're Chayiv? And this is what happened here. He went ahead and brought the money himself. He brought the wine himself to the goyim. Why is he potter? Amalei Hani Mili Hecha Deloy Ukma Iluye Meikara. Aval Hecha De Ukmi Iluye Meikara Mikla Kalye. That's because that's a case where they did not put you Ukmi Iluye. They didn't put you on that money, Me'ikara. They didn't come and tell you, go get that money. They didn't say that. So you went and brought the money on your own, then you're chayiv. But here, they told you, oh, that wine, I'm going to go get it myself. You want to bring it to me? So what did you do? You just brought them money that they were going to get anyway. So b'chiyai gavna, you're potter. You didn't do anything. Why? Because mikla kalya, it's already considered burnt up. It's like the fire already took hold of it. They see it. It's right there. They know how to get it. They just want you to bring it to them because it's a shortcut for them, for you to bring it. But they're really already targeting it. Now, you're potter. Now, this case is a little funny because what happened was in this case, they only targeted it because he told them. So, but on the telling them he's potter because he was an oinus. So he told them where the wine is. On that, he's an oinus. Then they say, oh, okay, good. So let's go. Let's check it out. They scout out the wine. They like it. Okay, we want the wine. Now they say, by the way, can you bring it to us? Oh, on that, it's mekakalye. On that, they already have their eyes on the wine. It's like Hilu the fire already took hold of the wine, and the wine is already in their possession, and therefore bringing it to them is not a problem. So now, what you see from this Gemara is that once the guy has his eye on something, it's mikakalye. It's considered already the fire took hold of it, and if you go ahead and assist the guy in bringing it, even be a dime, you're potter. Eisvir abavoler of Ashi. Amr loy anos. If an anos said, "Hoishit li pkia amir zeh, oy eshkol anovim zeh," if the guy says, "Bring me that particular grape or that particular pile of fabric," v'hoishit loy, you brought it, chayiv. So you see that even though they're pointing out to a specific thing, you're chayiv. So no, that's different. Hachamaskina, the guy betray avid in Nahara. They can never tell you hoishit. There he's talking about the guy can't get it without you. He's on the other side of the river. He can't get it without you. Since he can't get it without you, so therefore he needs you, and therefore the only way to get it is through you, so it's not mekakalye. Okay? So the way the Rif learns up this Gemara, the Rif says, you see from this Gemara, that even if that once the Goyim are eyeing a specific person, even if, and they're ma'anish you on that particular person, you're potter. That's the Rif takes out the Yusoid from this Gemara. Let's look at the Rif inside. It's very interesting. It should be the next page, page 3. It's a whole arichas in the Rif. You have it, page 3 in the Rif. It's on the bottom. It says page 3. Let's read the whole Rif here. Well, Chazer's over the Gemara. He says, "Rav Huna bar Yehuda ikla be'av Yoni yaslak mei Rava Amalei klum b'ma'isel yadcha." So Rava said, "Do you have any stories to tell me?" Amalei, "Yeah, I do. You saw shansu kusim v'herem aman chaver bal yadav v'chiyavtiv." She said, "Yeah, I had a case that a guy wanted mammon, and a yid showed him where it was, and I told him he's chayiv." Next page 4. Amalei kum ahadar uvda lamari. You did the wrong psak. The Tanya, since he was a oines, he saw shansu kusim v'herem aman chaver potter v'im not v'nasim yad chayiv. Amarav of him hera me'atzmai. But if you did it without being forced, k'moshe nasav v'nasim yad dami you're chayiv al the nezek. Ika man de Amar. Now the Rif is talking. Ki heichi di Yisrael shansuhu kusim. Just like if a guy was forced by a yid, if he was forced by a guy, the hera maman chaver potter. Hachanami Yisrael shansuhu kusim. So too a yid that the guy forced him lahavi maman chaveroi v'halach v'hevi potter. If you brought it, your potter. V'anan loy svir lan hachi. But we don't hold like that. D'chimainis bei b'shmaitza. Loy salka aliba d'hai svara kol ikar. It doesn't work out. And he basically proves that if you're nosav and nasan biyad, if you go ahead and bring it, then you're chayiv. If I underlined it, ava nosav and nasan biyad chayiv. Af agav de anis loy shnan su laharois v'halachu v'hevi v'loy shnan su lahavi v'hevi. That's what he wants to say. He wants to say the Rif holds that you are chayiv if you bring the money. The Gemara, the story with the chamor, with the chamra. So he says, "Hahu gavra da'achvi achamra der pinchas der mari, amri dari amti ba'adon, dari amti ba'adayu, also l'kamei der vashi patre." And he said, "Why are you potter?" And he brings the whole story. So he says, basically it's different. Shmamina ki loy ukmi olaye afagav da'ones chayiv. So he says, if they force you to bring it, even if they force you to bring it, but if they need you to bring it, then they can't get it without you. So it's not mekakalye. So even though they forced you, and we said before that if you're a moiser because they force you to be a moiser, you're potter. But it doesn't matter. Here you're chayiv. And he says, and when I put in the brackets, he says the chiluk we said before. What's the difference? If you show it, you're potter, but if you bring it, you're chayiv. The ha potter of high chayiv. V'tchavayu anisi hagroma v'habiyadayim. Groma is potter b'oinis, b'yadayim is chayiv b'oinis. So the Rif's shita is if they tell you, even if they tell you specifically about a specific person, and they bring me that guy's money. We know he has money. We just don't know where it is. And you go ahead and bring the money, you're chayiv. Even if it's an oinus, you're chayiv. Now, what happens if it's a matter of life and death? Then mistama, is that called matzah atzma or not? I mean, mistama, that could be even there. I mean, the question is what? Okay, we'll have to. There's machlokes here. Okay. It could be even if it's a matter of life and death.
Still to
And
pay.
you should do it, but you're going to have to pay. Here's the opposite. You're mechuyev to do it. You have to save your life. But l'maisa, you have to pay because you're mazik his thing. Just like
Matzah
atzma chaver chayiv. Right. Means the same way if a guy lo yaleinu is holding a gun to a yid. And what does he do? What does the yid do? He has a fancy $5,000 glass vase that belongs to his friend. He takes it and he can throw it at the guy, and it's going to go and distract him, and he can run away. Is he allowed to do that or not? Of course he's allowed to. He has to. He has to save his life. But does he have to pay the guy the $5,000? Yeah, of course. Because he was mazik his thing. Be a dime. So you have to pay. So the Rif holds that even if they're asking for a specific thing and a specific person, if you bring it be a dayim, you're chayiv. If it's just words and it's garmi, and then they do it themselves, then you're going to be potter because it's grama. On that, there's a Ravid, which I underlined here. The Ravid on the bottom of the Hasagus on the Rif says, "Da chazina da kol hecha diyichid loy anas lahavi loy mamona shachaverei avagav demaisli biyadayim loy mechayev." The Rif says, no, you misunderstood that whole story. The point of the story with the Chamra was that since the Goyim asked him for that specific wine and he went ahead and brought it, he's potter. That's why. The Gemara says that you have to be on two sides of the river. Right? The Gemara asked the Kasha, it's not true. And the Gemara said, no, it's different if you're two sides of the river. He says, no. The story with the two sides of the river has nothing to do with whether the guy could get it without you or not. The two sides of the river is, if the guy's on the other side of the river, you're not so afraid of him. That's all. The Gemara is just saying, if the guy's on the other side of the river, then why are you listening to him? Run away. Well, he's not such a threat. But if the guy's standing next to you and he's a real threat to you, then you have to respond. Then you're potter if you're going to go ahead and give it to him. So there's a machlok between the Ravid and the Rif. What happens if they force you to give someone's money specifically, but you have to give it biyadayim? Fascinating machlok. So it's an oinus. It's an oinus, and you're giving it biyadayim, and the Rif holds your chayiv, and the Ravid holds your potter. Now let's think about it for a second. According to the Ravid, what's the difference between the case of the vase? Does everyone agree on the case of the vase? You took the guy's $5,000 thing, you threw it in his face, you saved your life. You're allowed to? Yes. You have to pay him?
Yes.
Very mistaber. Everyone agrees to that. Because you're saving your life with his money, so fine. So what's the difference in the cases? The Rif holds it's the same thing here. Basically, you save your life because they're forcing you, but Lamaisa, you gave over his money to the goyim. So why would the Ravid hold your potter if in the case of the vase you're chayiv? You hear any chiluk?
Yeah.
What's the chiluk?
In one case, their goal is to get the guy's money. In the case of the vase, they don't really. He's not trying to damage the vase.
Exactly.
He brought the vase in.
Meaning, the lashon of the Gemara is matzil atzmai b'mamon chaveroi. Zok the Rif. So this is also matzil atzmai b'mamon chaveroi. But the Ravid holds this is not called matzil atzmai b'mamon shechaveroi. It means you're saving yourself with his money. Their whole thing was the mamon chaveroi. So forget it was the mamon chaveroi that put you in the sakana to begin with. So now that I'm just giving over the mamon chaveroi that put me in the sakana, I'm not going to be chayiv for that. I'm not being matzil atzmai b'mamon chaveroi. The lashon of the shach when he says this, the shmak lashon, he says lo yantzu. Okay, I mean, that's basically what he says. He has a nice lashon here, but Mashenkin hacha she'ansu lahavi mammon pliny imkein ha'oines hu mitchila al oisei pliny ve'ein zen mikri matzel atzmai b'mammon chaveroi el shemuchach lasos k'mo she'omer la'anas v'im la'yazakei nimtza. I'm not being matzel atzmai mammon chaveroi. It would be the opposite. It would be yatzil hu mammon chaveroi b'nafshay. I'm not mechuyev to do that either. I'm being matzel his money for my nafesh. I'm not mechuyev to do that either. Zaktoshach. So this is going to end up being a very big machlokes between the shach and the mechaber. Before we mention the machlokes, the shach and the ramah, now the machlokes, the shach and the mechaber. I think when we get to it, we'll see the mechaber paskins like the rif, that even if they ask for specific money, you have to do it, but you're chayiv. If you gave it over, be a dime. And the shach is going to pass like the ravid. And b'chiyah gavna, that after that guy's money, and it's a question of life and death, then you have to do it, and you're potter, because that's not matzal mammon chaverei. That's the opposite. I'm not mechuyev to be matzal mammon chaverei b'nafshay. That's very exactly that chiluk. Okay, fine. So those are the couple noisim. Let's go to the Rambam and we'll wrap it up with the Rambam. Because it's interesting, the Rif, the Ravid, has hasagos on the Rif. He also has hasagos on the Rambam. More well known, the hasagos on the Rambam. So we don't have that much written from the Rif, but we have a lot of his hasagos from what he said on the Rif and the Rambam. So he has the same problem with the Rif, with the Rambam as he had on the Rif. If you look at Halacha Daled, the Rambam says like this: you took mammon from your friend and you gave it over to the anas. You have to pay. Even if the king forced you to bring it, as long as it wasn't under the jurisdiction already. But if it was already under the jurisdiction, you're potter. But basically, you're chayiv even if they force you to bring that money, like the Rif. Says the Ravid, Amar Avram Gam Bezeh al derech haravi who is going like the Rif. Ve'ina goyin moidelo, but the goyim argue. Ve'chein adin she'ein lecha davar she'oymei b'fnei pikuach nefesh u'me'ayin mischayiv loy she'yamos b'shul mammon chaveroi hoyo v'yichdu loy b'ferish. I already explained this in Baba Kama. So that is what the Ravid says l'shitosai on the hasagas of the Rif, and that's the setup of the sugya. Okay, so basically that's the setup of the sugya. That's the three sugyas of the Gemara, the Rif, the Rambam, and then next week I want to just go over that so we can jump into the Shulchan Aruch and see how the Shulchan Aruch, the Ramah, and the Shach paskin on this case. Okay. Yeah.